So I'm looking at this question, exercise 6.8. Right, it's a double entry question, double entry for assets, capital, and liabilities. Alright, and so I'll be doing question 6.8x. Alright, so let us begin. So 2018, it says June 1 started business with 15,000 cash in the bank. Right, and so anytime you see a question or a transaction, right, especially a double entry transaction, you need to ask yourself what two accounts are being affected. And so if you look at it, it says started business, right, with cash in the bank. So once it says started business, you know that we need the capital account. So we will draw our capital account. Apologies for not having my ruler, right? Debit side, this is my credit side, and this is my capital account, right? And you will also need your bank account. Why you need a bank account? Because it says cash in the bank, so this is where the money is, in the bank, right? So you draw up your bank account. The capital account is not normally a big account, so you can just use a couple lines for it. All right, so now that we have identified our two accounts, the next thing that we need to do is to identify which account must be debited, which account must be credited. Now, if you remember the tip, right, that the capital account is always credited. So this account is always credited, right? To show an increase in it, we credit it. So we're going to put the information on the credit side. That is what it means, right? So you can write in a date 2018, write the date June 1, and you're going to write the information on the credit side because we are crediting the account. You're going to write the name of the other account that is affected, which is bank. Right, you put in a dollar sign, and it is what, 15,000. So you write in 15,000. Right. So you have credited the capital account, and for every credit entry, there needs to be a corresponding debit entry. So write in the date 2018 June 1, the name of the other account, which is capital. So you write capital in a dollar sign, and it is 15,000. So you have entered the first transaction. You have credited the capital account and you have debited the bank account to show that the bank account is receiving $15,000, and you credit the capital account to show that the capital account is increasing by $15,000. So that's the first transaction. Then we move on to June 2. It says bought motor van paying $4,200 by check. You're buying motor van, right? You're paying by check. The first question to ask yourself, what two accounts are affected? So motor van is affected, and the bank account. Wherever you see check, you know that we are talking about bank. Alright? So the motor van account is affected and the bank account is affected. We already have the bank account, so we don't need to draw up another bank account. But we don't have the motor van account, so we need to draw up a motor van account, or we need to open a motor van account, right? So we open our motor van account. This is our motor van account. We now need to ask ourselves which account is receiving, which account is paying out, or we can say which account should be debited, which account should be credited. Right? Another tip that was shared in my earlier videos is that whatever you are buying must be debited. Whatever you are buying must be debited. So we are buying motor van, and motor van is an asset account. So we're going to debit motor van, and if we are debiting motor van and the other account is the bank account, then it means that the bank account must be credited. So we go with our date. We're going to debit the motor van account, June 2. Write the name of the other account that is affected. Bank, the amount is 4,200. So we debit the motor van to show an increase. So we have to credit the bank account. Right, so June 2, and we have motor van, crediting the bank account to show that the bank account is paying out money, or that it is decreasing, 4,200. Next transaction, June 5, bought office fixtures $800 on credit from Young Limited. You're buying office fixture on credit from Young. The two accounts that are affected, right? You have the office fixtures account, and you have Young Limited. You write the name of the creditor because you are buying on credit from Young Limited. That means that Young Limited is your creditor. You will have to use them, and the office fixtures is the fixed asset, right? And you are buying it, so you are going to debit the office fixtures and credit Young Limited. Remember again, whatever you are buying must be debited, and you are buying office fixture. So we don't have any office fixture account, so you'll have to open that. And we don't have any Young's Limited account, so we would have to open that as well. So I go ahead and I open my office fixtures. Office fixtures account. And Young Limited, I'm going to just draw it down the bottom here. Put in a debit and credit sign. Young Limited. Right. So we're going to debit the office fixture. So we write in our date 2018 June 5, and you will write the name of the other account that is affected, Young Ltd. That is what, 800. I'm going to credit Young's Limited now. June 5 office fixtures 800 2018. Alright, so we move on to the next one. Alright, we move on to the next transaction. June 8, bought motor van on credit from Super Motors. Right, if you realize June 8 and June 5 they are basically similar, right, in that you are buying a fixed asset on credit. So you will need the motor van account and you will need Super Motors account. Right, we already have the motor van account, which is right here, and we don't have Super Motors account. Remember that Young Limited, is a creditor, and to increase a creditor's account, your credit, and also Super Motors now is going to be a creditor as well. Is a creditor as well, and to increase their account, you credit just the same. Right, so you have Super Motors. Alright, so Super Motors, and it is June 8, and it says that you are buying a motor van. So you're going to have motor van, and the amount is 3,800. So you go to your motor van account, you're buying it, you're receiving it. So June 8, Super Motors, 3,800. So you debit motor van, you credit Super Motors, because motor van is increasing, Super Motors is losing in terms of their stock they are selling, and it's a liability, right? So you credit your liabilities account. Next one, June 12, took $500 out of the bank and put it in the cash till, right? In cash book we would call that a contra entry, right? So you are taking money out of the bank, you are putting it into the cash till. We already have a bank account, but we don't have a cash account, so we will have to open a cash account. And you may say, how you know that it is cash? Well, because the transaction say cash, right? So the two accounts that we would need are bank and cash. So the bank, right, is losing and the cash is receiving, because you are taking money out of the bank, as it states right here. So the bank is losing, so you go June 12, right? The money is going to the cash account, and so you put cash in the details section, $500, and you will debit the cash because the cash is receiving. So June 12 bank, and it is $500. Next one, June 15, bought office fixtures, paying by cash, $200. Two accounts that we need, that is what you need to ask yourself: office fixtures and cash, right? Remember, whatever you're buying must be debited. So we are going to debit the office fixture and we are going to credit the cash, because we are using the cash to buy the office fixture. We already have an office fixture account, so we go June 15 cash, which is the name of the other account, $200. We debit the office fixtures account. For every debit entry, there must be a corresponding credit entry. So now we are going to credit the cash account. So June 15, we are going to credit it, and we are going to have here in details office fixtures, $200. Alright, we're moving on fine. Next one, June 19, paid Supermotors a check for $800 on account. So we are paying Supermotors a check. Two accounts that we would need here are Supermotors and check. When you see check, what do we talk about? We talk about bank. So bank and Supermotors. Who is receiving in this transaction? Well, if you look at it, Supermotors is receiving, they are receiving the money, and we are taking the money from the bank account. So the bank account must be credited. So June 19, Supermotors, and that is $800, and then Supermotors account must be debited because they are receiving. So June 19, bank, because that is where the money is coming from, that is the name of the other account, and that is $800. Alright, so you realize it's coming together. The next one, June 21, a loan of $1,000 cash is received from J. Jarvis. Question to ask yourself is, what two accounts do I need? Right? Obviously, I need J. Jarvis because he is giving me money, he's giving me a loan, but he's giving me the loan in the form of cash. So I need cash and J. Jarvis. So the cash account is receiving, so I can debit the cash account. So June 21, J. Jarvis, in my details, $1,000 in the amount. I don't have a J. Jarvis account, so I'm going to have to open a J. Jarvis account. So go ahead, you draw up a J. Jarvis account. J. Jarvis account, right? And if the cash account is debited, then it means that J. Jarvis's account must be credited. June 21, cash, that is $1,000. And then June 25, paid $800 of the cash in hand into the bank account. This is very similar to this transaction, June 12, right? But this time it's the opposite. You are paying money from the cash till, right, to the bank account this time. So the two accounts that we need are cash and the bank. So you realize the cash and the bank account are normally used a lot. So we go debit the bank account because it is receiving. So June 25, maybe because it is payday, don't know. June 25, 800, debit the bank account to show that it is receiving $800, and we have to credit the cash account now. June 25, bank, $800. Final transaction, June 30, bought more office fixtures paid by a check, and this is similar to a lot of the transactions that we have done before. Two accounts that we need, office fixtures and bank, because anytime you see check, you know that we're talking about bank, right? So you're buying more office fixtures, so our office fixtures account is going to be debited June 30, bank, right, $300, and then our bank account will be credited June 30, right, office fixtures, and the amount is $300. And so that is how you do exercise 6.8. So this is exercise 6.8x. And there you go. There you have it. Alright? Remember to like, subscribe, and share. See you in the next one.